says, no, don't worry, because I have you. I got you. In every situation, I have you. I love you more than you love your children. Although that's hard for you to fathom, I do. And I've taken care of everything. And, if you read 25 through 33, it talks about, look at the birds of the air, that one where he goes, he feeds them all. He takes care of them all. And when I start to look at that, I'm like, okay, God, now you tell us reasons not to worry, because you know that you show us that you provide, but then he also tells us how we can remove it. And in verse 33, he says, do not worry. He says, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. In 34, therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So in that, he tells us, okay, you don't have to worry because I got you. And then the way that you don't worry is you seek me first. And then in Psalm 121, I love this one. It says, I lift my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Hallelujah. And I love that, because I'm like, oh, wow, God, I don't know if you can handle this. And then he's like, why don't you go look outside? I did that, So I'm like, okay, I got you. This is good. And so when focusing on peace, and this is one of my last stories, that I was focusing on what to say about peace, which is something I struggle with all the time. Oh my God, I need to trust you in peace. He brought me back to when my baby girl was born. And I may get emotional on this one. Not the overwhelming joy was there. It wasn't there. I'm sorry. The overwhelming joy wasn't there. I knew I loved her, and I knew I was so excited that she was there, but there was a wall, and there was like a distance. And so I didn't know why, but in talking with James, I came to realize that it was fear. Emma's birth was a little scary and dramatic, much like the Justice League is, the three of us. And I was so afraid at first, and so I finally broke down, and I think it was the fear of the depth of my love for her that I couldn't bear the thought of anything happening to her. And James, in his great love and wisdom, he was just like, Rebecca, God is our Father, and he loves us so much, and he gave us this beautiful gift. And he says, do you think that he would just take her from us? And I said, well, we don't understand those things. He goes, you're right, we don't. He says, but even if he did, and as hard as that is to fathom, don't you think that he would be there every step of the way to take care of us and to be with us and comfort us? Because as horrible as that is, he is our Father, and he is our comforter, and he would do that. Because my first mindset was, he took my mother, why would he not do this too? And God is like, you can't view me as the person who takes, but you need to view me as the person who comforts and provides and is there. And when I realized at that moment what he was saying, I realized that my focus was on the wrong thing. My focus was, oh my gosh, I love this child so much, what if something happens? And it wasn't on the creator of her, the author and finisher of my faith, and my creator, who gave me this beautiful, precious, perfect little girl, and who knew the hairs on her head. He knew her before he ever created her in my womb, how perfect she would be. And all of us can look at our babies and know that they are perfect, no matter what anybody says. And I realized that my focus, because it was wrong at that moment, it allowed fear to creep in and the enemy to build a wall to the blessings that God had given me. But when I when I changed it, then the overwhelming joy flooded my soul. The love flooded my soul. And I realized that at that moment, when I focused on the Lord, it destroyed that wall that the enemy started to build right at the beginning of her birth. And I never wanted that. I was always afraid that, because people, some of us have struggling relationships, and I really feel like it's not in here, but you need to fix that if that's the case. If you have a struggling relationship with your mom or dad, allow the Lord to break that down and focus on him, because he created you and he created her or him. So that's not in here, but it's out there and I need to say it. So when he flooded my soul, I walked out of I think it was in the bathroom when that happened, when we were talking and everything, and everybody had been there throughout the day, and I walked over there and I'm like, give me my baby, I want my baby, and so then I felt that, and I felt that connection, and I was like, never again will I allow the wrong focus to build a wall. And so in that, God shows me that in different areas, you need to allow the right focus to come in so that the wall doesn't get built in different relationships and in different areas in our lives. The Lord wants to bring us peace. He wants to bring us joy. He wants to bring us the desires of our hearts. In order for us to tune into what He wants for us, we must learn to focus on Him. So I'm going to take you back to Deuteronomy, what my mama told me. And I'm going to read verses 5 through 9. Love the Lord God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commandments I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you're walking along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands. Bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and your gates. And I truly believe that when we as women of God love Him first, then we can influence our children, we can influence our families, we can influence our communities, and we can influence our world. Then, when we do this, we are truly being all that we can be. Just remember what my mom told me. When you love the Lord first, all other things will come together. Amen. Thank you.